Hey guys, welcome back to Real Talk with Lady T. Today we will be going over Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 10. Stay tuned. I like to do a little bit of the Unfiltered in the beginning. This Unfiltered was it didn't really give us much. We had Pastor Kyle, Haley, and Eric at the Unfiltered. The main thing that I pulled from it is that Haley is still not feeling Jacob. You hear me? She's just not feeling him. And I noticed how Pastor Kyle, if you go back and watch the Unfiltered episode, every time Haley's talking, just look at Pastor Kyle's face expressions. Like, I wish I could put a clip in here. It's so funny. But basically Pastor Kyle said that he still got hope. He feel as though, and he told Jamie, he said, you should know more than anybody that attraction grows over time. You cannot just go by that physical outer look. So Pastor Kyle still got hope for the relationship. I got mixed feelings. One minute I got hope, the next minute I'm like, I don't think so. So this is one of those, we got to ride it to the end and see what happens. So our first couple that we're going to go talk about is Eric and Virginia. Now, the episode starts off with Eric and Virginia. Look like they're in the kitchen. They're having a conversation. And we were talking about sharing passcodes. Virginia started talking about her social media. And basically, Eric is saying that he is not okay with her being friends with exes on social media. Eric and Virginia gets a knock at the door, and it's Dr. Viviana. So she comes in and sit down with the couple and have a conversation. Now, the beginning of that conversation, of course, is beautiful because they're like, oh, we had instant chemistry. We get along. We really like each other. But they did say that they try to avoid difficult conversation. You're going to have times when you clash. And I feel like sometimes when you take so much time to avoid things that need to be addressed, when the clash happens, like no other. Eric basically was saying that a lot of their views are different. He's very respectful of her views. However, she says she struggles with being okay with his views. Eric was just putting his foot down like, I know what I know, and that's it. And then you can see Dr. Viviana's face. She like, oh, okay, you getting a little spicy. Then the conversation of kids came back up again. And basically Eric is like, look, if she don't want kids, I'm done. I said, what? I said it in another video. It can be a deal breaker for most people, most couples. And she didn't completely say she don't want kids, but she want kids in 10 years. He like, I'm not waiting 10 years for you to have a child. Even if they stay together at decision day, I see down the line, if that continues to be an issue, I don't see it working out. Even Eric's parents, his mom is like, listen, we waiting for baby. In the game, one person talks while the other person listens. So it starts off with Eric saying, I don't deal with cheating. Cheating is a no-go. Basically, he said he never cheated, but he's been cheated on several times. And he always wondered, like, why are they cheating on me? What's the deal? So that's pretty much his portion of it. Now, Virginia, on the other hand, I feel like she gave us more this time. I feel like I understood a little bit of why she's the way she is. And basically, it was her upbringing. Her parents getting divorced. Her parents fighting a lot. Child support. She was always in the middle. She felt like it was always a tug of war with her. And she feels like, I don't want my child to go through the same thing. The light bulb turned on. Okay, so Virginia's going through, she's thinking about when she was a child, and she's afraid that if her and Eric don't work out, now she has to fight with him for the child. The child is like a pawn. And believe it or not, as sad as it is, it's still happening to today. And the kids are the ones in the middle. As we can see, this is a grown adult. She still suffers from how her upbringing was and her parents clashing. So I would say that I appreciated her sharing that, because that gave him another, okay, so I see. So now I just have to continue to show her that I'm not going anywhere. So once he continues to make her feel safe and make her feel like this is her forever home and her forever person, she can loosen up on that portion. They can have children and they'll be fine. And then the final scene with them, Virginia, she set up something real nice with some fruit and some, pebbles. Like, she just did a nice little, ambiance for them. And he just seemed really thankful. He was like, oh, I like the fact that you thought about me and you did this nice little situation, this whatever. And he just told her he wants her to trust him more. Like, just trust him, trust the process, trust love, and things will get better. She said that, honestly, she feel like this is just for right now. He won't always be into me. Eventually, he won't want to be with me, or he won't look at me the same. And so, again, that's some more of her insecurities coming out, as we see. And so that's how their scene ended. And again, I still think they're doing pretty well considering, but the children, like her wanting to party and drink, all those things can still be a hedge into their marriage. Moving right along. So my next couple that I want to talk about is Brianna and Vincent. Now, they didn't give us too much this episode. It was short and sweet, but they start off talking with Dr. Viviana. She comes over to talk. And I like how Vincent tried to make it seem like, oh, we just good. We just butterflies. And Dr. Viviana, she crazy. She's talking about, so yeah, what's up? What's going on with this little, you've been feeling a little some way. You saying that you okay with y'all joking around, but I'm hearing otherwise. Yo, you gotta look at Vincent's face. He like, oh, that's what she doing? Oh, she going there? Yeah, I'm going there. That part made me chuckle. I was like, yeah, Dr. Viv ain't coming in to play no games with y'all. Because everybody's been saying, where's the experts at? Every time we see stuff going on, don't y'all, I be like, well, where they at? Why they keep letting all this crazy stuff happen? So she coming in guns blazing. So then Vincent, when he did respond, he sounded a little like, like, I'm not a child. I'm not delicate. I'm not a 7-year-old. And basically, Dr. Viviana was like, okay, but it seems as though I see a pattern. That's the exact word she used. And it seems as though you're trying to be perfect. You're trying to be this perfect person for her. And you don't need to be this perfect person for her. So then, of course, Vincent, he apologized to Brianna and basically said that, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have acted the way I acted. Brianna said, I love you the way you are. I don't need you to be nothing or nobody else. It's fine. Be you. It's like Vincent set up a nice little setup for Brianna, and they're playing this game. And they have to get blindfolded, and one person says something, and then if the other person get the answer right, they get to eat something. Or if the answer is wrong. And pretty much she just was saying they had a little bit of fun with the game, and she was saying that she trusted him 100%. They both seem to enjoy the game, and that's pretty much how they're seen. And so now my take on them is Vincent still got a lot of work. He got some deep-rooted situations, in my opinion. But we got to see how it goes. Because she can be bossy, but I don't feel... Personally, I haven't seen her be overly bossy yet. I haven't seen her... I do see what they say, but she's been very gentle with him, actually, and very understanding and kind. So I hope that he's able to really let his guard down, really open up to her, and see how far they can actually go. So our next couple that we will be talking about is Clara and Ryan. This couple, they have some issues. Now, we got Clara, who only see physical and don't have any attachments to it. And then we have Ryan, who is overly like, I need this deep connection before I can have this physical with you. And so seeing them two on two sides of the spectrum is just something real crazy to see. So it starts off, they're playing this little game and they're reading from the paper. Clara asks a question and Ryan has to answer the question. And it looks as though Ryan is a little uncomfortable with the question. One of the questions is, how can we be more intimate with romance? And she like, just do it. Just do it. And then the other one was, how can we make our sex life a little better? Clara is being such a smart behind. When she said, have it, I bust out laughing. I said, she just on that frustrated level right now. She like, listen, is we going to do this or we not going to do this? And Clara just expressed how her last relationship was just really hard for her. She did not feel desired. He did not fulfill certain needs. And sex was nothing special in that relationship or other relationships that she's had. Now we move forward, and Dr. Viviana shows up for their visit. And it starts off like, oh, it's real easy with us, we this, we that. And I don't know if it's for the cameras. Sarah just jumped in and was like, well, we're not 100% on the same page when it comes to sex. Period. We just not. Viviana asked, she said, well, because Claire was like, well, we do other stuff. As we found out a couple episodes ago, they do other stuff. And I feel like that's just as much. But Dr. Viviana said, so when it get heated, who pumps the brakes? And she's like, he 100% pumps the brakes. So you initiate, or not even initiate, but you a part of, and you're participating in the act. But then when you feel as though it's going too far, you pump the brakes. And Dr. Viviana asked if she could speak to Clara alone. And she asked Ryan to leave. Because she said, I feel some tension. I feel like, I don't know, that she really want to say some things that she may not say because he's sitting right here. Dr. Viviana just seemed like she thought he could have been a virgin. She's like, well, you sure he was perfectly honest about being a virgin? And Clara seemed very sure, like, no, he told me he's had sex in the past, so I believe him. He's been an honest person, so I think he has. It's just because he wants to wait. Ryan did come back and they talked about it. She just was really emotional, and you could just see that she has some deep scars when it comes to sex. I'm not gonna say that anything happens or anything like that, but the way she was handled when it came to sex was very negative. And so now Ryan's looking for this, and she's like, oh, I hope I can give him what he's looking for. But how do you know if you just only holding on to what's happened negative in the past and how you felt with other people? It's almost like she's completely cut off. Like, well, no, it's never gonna happen. Because I feel like they both need some type of healing. He needs to loosen up a little bit and not be so, we already know. Remember, he's one of those, everything's the same. And, you know, he's calculated. And then she's a free spirit. And when I tell you the experts got somebody on two opposite sides of the spectrum, that's what they did in this case. I don't know what they was thinking, but I mean, I got the hope that it could possibly work out. But we're talking about two different, very different situations. So this is another one we gotta watch and see. So my next couple that I want to talk about is Haley and Jacob. Now, we talked a little bit about Haley in the Unfiltered episode and basically how she's still really not feeling Jacob. So Dr. Viviana comes and she asks them about their relationship, and basically, you know, they're getting along. They're in a better space now. But then Dr. Viviana just straight up just threw it out there like, so I hear y'all, this is like somewhat of a friend zone. Like, y'all getting along as friends. And basically it's non-romantic. It isn't. And Haley gets really emotional and she starts crying, and she's basically like, you know, this never happened to me before. You know, and then in fact Dr. Viviana said, so did this happen after you guys had sex? And basically it was like, oh, I got married, and under the pressure of being married, I just was doing things that I felt like we should do because we're married. And so I can't even imagine how Jacob feels. So basically you saying that you only had sex with me out of pity, like, and then you felt so bad about it, and now you just so unattracted to me. It just I know that's just the way it sounds when it comes out. And she said that Haley's doing a lot of work. She bought him the gifts, and she's trying to get him to drink with her and do stuff with her. I feel her on that. When you were somebody that's an outgoing person, social, always got friends, he like to travel, and then you get this guy who's like a hermit, and he's into the 80s more than he really should be, and he's not romantic. He doesn't buy you flowers. He said it. I'm not somebody who's buying flowers. I'm not somebody that's doing this. But this is the things that you desire in your husband. That can make you unattractive. And so I kind of get some points of where Haley's coming from, because it's like, I can grow attraction to you if you start to do things that attract me. But if, not only because of looks, but if you don't do anything that draws me in, there's never going to be an attraction there. And then when you get pissed and you start slashing out and saying all kinds of stuff, that just goes in the opposite direction. And so when she was crying and she seemed hurt, I felt a little bad. I felt like I could feel where she was coming from. Basically, if she was dating, it would have been done. Like, she would have never saw him again. But because it's a marriage, she's trying to hold on to it. She's trying to just see through the process, if nothing else. And that's appreciative, I guess, for the viewers, because it's like, okay, at least try. So then you see later on, Dr. Viviana, she comes back. knock on the door. She comes back just to talk to Haley about it. She wanted to know more about why Haley is the way she is. And I like the fact that she brought up some conversation or some data from when she first applied for Married at First Sight. And basically she said she would pick the guys apart. So she would pick them apart, and then eventually it would be too much for them. And then she would feel bad when it don't work. And then she'll say, okay, I'll give the next guy a chance. So Dr. Viviana asked her, so are you picking him apart? That's what you're doing. The same thing that you said you've been doing, you're doing. And she actually admitted to doing it, because she said basically, well, you know, once certain things happened and once we had an argument or whatever the case may be, honestly, I probably was picking them apart. Well, their homework was for them to move into the same room together. She was like, baby steps. Just be in the same bed together. So you see the scene where they're in the bed together. And he's always cracking dry humor, cracking his jokes. Oh, no spooning, no kiss, da-da-da-da. She like, no, like, we ain't say be doing all that. But it almost seems like she's uncomfortable being in his presence by herself, which is so weird, because it's like, if you're uncomfortable, because he is technically still was a stranger, but you've already had sex with him, but you're uncomfortable with him. So it still just gives me mixed vibes. We're gonna look into the future with these two and see what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna give my full prediction to them yet, but y'all let me know what y'all. And finally, Chris and Paige. Paige is still in this house by herself with no husband. And basically it starts off with her saying that, you know, she was trying to have a conversation with Chris. She's been calling him. It's been going straight to voicemail. He's not answering. She wanted them to sit down and have a conversation with Dr. Viviana. And y'all, she just looks pitiful and sad in the beginning of her scene. And then you hear a knock on the door. Who is it? None other than Christopher. I just gave him a new name. Chris. So Chris comes in. Hey, how you doing? Gives her a hug, whatever the case may be. Dr. Viviana comes and meets with both of them. And you know what stood out to me in that beginning of that conversation? Dr. Viviana said, the person that I've been watching these last few weeks is not the same Chris that we interviewed in the beginning and that we brought onto the show. I said yes, because somebody needed to point that out, because everybody, you know, the viewers and the people that speculate what's going to happen is talking about, how did Chris get on this show? How did he get past the strenuous process and get on this show? And basically, coming from Dr. Viviana's own mouth, is not the same person. So Chris uses, oh yeah, well, the Chris, you know, from 19 such and such, the Chris from the little child into I got hired to be on this show is one Chris. After I started the show and found out about the baby and all this other stuff happened, this is a different Chris. I beg to differ, but I'm glad that she pointed that out, because we all needed to hear that. She asks us, you know, basically, what do you want, Paige? Well, I'm a woman of God. Here we go with this again. And God intended me to be a supportive wife. So you still talking about being a supportive wife and being a doormat, because pretty much that's what it's looking like. Now, come on, enough of being a doormat. And it's like, it's crazy, because I feel like she has the potential to fight back and be like, I'm not tolerating this, but then something else pulls her. And honestly, let me just say, soul ties is real. Do you believe that if they wouldn't have had sex on wedding night and they wouldn't have had sexual intercourse at all, but they're in this process of the situation, would Paige be this attached? Or is it because he deposited something into her when they had sex, knowing that he was not into her, to put like a string tie around her, and now wherever he goes, she's not that far behind, because she's this dedicated, spiritual, godly woman who wants to be a good wife. I was just ranting. Anyway, back to what Paige wants. So basically she's saying, well, if I could just get a phone call. And then, so basically Dr. Viviana, like, how often you need a phone? Well, at least once a day. So Chris is like, that feel forced. That's too much. I don't want to have to be obligated. So I'm like, so you saying you don't want to talk to your wife every day, even if it's just a good morning? You can't do that? Come on, you acting like we asking for so much. So then Dr. Viviana was like, well, so what is comfortable with you? Oh, we could go out from time to time, and we can hang out, we can do this, we can do that. She like, well, I think taking her on dates and all of that is way more than her just asking you to have communication with her each day. And I agree. I'm like, okay, so you don't want to contact her each day, but yet once in a blue, you want to pop in and y'all could go on dates and y'all could do this and y'all could do that. I was just, you already know how. Then we moved back to the scene where Paige is writing out a schedule to see what he's comfortable with. And honestly, I said with the chuckles, he always seemed like it's a game. I don't think he take marriage serious at all. And I said it, I don't think he does, because the way he just kind of like plays around with it. This is nothing to play with. If you really done, be done. So finally he says, well, maybe I could bring dinner and we can have Bible study. Because she's like, oh, you want to play cards? You want to do this? I don't want to play cards. I don't want to do this. He don't want to do nothing. He don't want to be in your presence, Paige. He not trying to be around you. Boo. And then he's like, well, I can bring food and we can have Bible study. So she's like, Bible study. He's like, yeah, maybe that's what's missing. So here we go again. Still playing with my God. So she agrees. Okay, we could do that. So that's a date. A knock on the door. Here comes Chris. He's coming back with the food. Now it's Bible study time. They sitting at the table. Well, they sitting at the table to have their dinner. And she asks him to bless the food. No, you bless the food. So he never wants to pray. He continues to bring up God and bring up the Bible. But I haven't heard him pray yet. So she prays over the food. They're eating and he basically like, so I thought we was having Bible study. So she like, yeah, so let's get started. Oh, you know what? My week was so crazy. I ain't get a chance to prepare nothing, but I can hear what you prepared. Are you kidding me? It was your idea to have Bible study. Man of God, who is the man of this relationship and the leader of this marriage. You comes to my house nilly-willy with your bag of fried chicken. And then you initiate, oh, well, we need to do our Bible study. Oh, but by the way, I didn't do no work. I didn't even study nothing. Paige still again on that string. She goes get the Bible. They read it from the Bible. She asks him to read the scripture. He looked like he barely wanted to do that. Just watching it, it just gave me like, you know, he's playing around type of situation. And it's really bothersome to watch sometimes. Study. And here comes Chris again, dropping a bomb. Boop. I got something to tell you. So Paige, like, you see it all over her face. She like, what? You got something to tell me? Okay, now what? She having twins? Like, what's up? And he basically like, oh, well, he give us whole story about Mercedes and how long she haven't drove and this and that and the third. All to say, I bought her a brand new Benz. So she could get used to driving. So by the time the baby is here, she can. Oh, he's like, oh, because you're my wife. And I feel like I should. No, well, if that's the case, you should have came to me before you bought a Benz. You come to me to tell me you bought your ex a Benz, but I'm telling you because you're my wife. No, you should have consulted with me before you bought the Benz. But anyway, she just looked distraught again. Wow. Okay. So I understand you wanting to get her a car, but you get her a brand new Benz. Oh, okay. She did mention about her trying to be comfortable once the baby get here and stuff like that. But I told y'all this be draining me. I told y'all this couple in particular be draining me. And that's all I have for you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can know when I have new videos coming up. Make sure you return, come back. I'll see you next time. Thanks again for coming for Real Talk with Lady T. Bye.